All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. Talking Auburn football. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. Like the video and comment, and also subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. I'm going to tell you guys, arguably a huge position group of this spring football is going to be the defensive line. Now, the defensive line is composed of defensive end, nose tackle, defensive tackle, and the edge. And that's going to be very crucial to Auburn's possible success here in the season. Let's give everybody a chance to come in. This is a live stream. I want to give everybody a chance to come in. I was looking at some of the comments. True Auburn champion talking about the congratulations to Walker Kessler says, man, we were so loaded. How in the hell did we go out in game 2? Is almost bittersweet here. Yes, we were very loaded in game, going into game 2 of the tournament. But, when you look at basketball, things start to fizzle out, and teams, as you saw, like the Villanovas and the St. Peters and those teams of the world, they start to come on late. And that's why you have this whole March Madness concept. I was looking at Gary Johnson comment in regards to ex-quarterback Bo Nix, number 2 on the depth chart at Oregon. He says the noise still affects him. We'll see. We will definitely see how that noise affects Bo Nix as he's out at Eugene, Oregon. Big shout out to Bo Nix, who got the transfer to another Power 5 conference and has the opportunity to start. Jacob DeBorn says, okay, who are we thinking gets the job at Auburn this year? I'm hoping for Ashford. I think Ashford is on a lot of folks' list as a person to start. Not sure if the coaches feel the same way, but it is what it is. F. Scott Beagle, always love to have him in here. And you have Kevin Kelly that says that Robbie Ashford will be our starting quarterback. Gary Johnson says with that terrible offensive line, whoever's starting quarterback, he was talking about the TJ Finley video, is going to run for his life. Let's look at some more of these comments. Scotty Boyd says great points when talking about Brian Harson's challenges. And Gaming Dreams talking about Demartrius Davis as he enters the transfer portal. He is too short to be quarterback. He's not 5'10", try 5'8". Oh, wow. Didn't think he was that short. All right, so as we get into the Auburn defensive line, Jimmy Brumbaugh, former Auburn defensive lineman, defensive line coach. He's been around a little bit. Most recently, the defensive line coach at Tennessee. And he's dealing with a short staff at the moment. Some talented guys, but the depth factor is definitely going to be a key. Let's get into some more of these comments. We've never had an issue. This is Opelika City Limits. Says we've never had an issue with having too many quarterbacks. This is a great situation to be in, as he talks about the Auburn quarterback situation. Let's get into some more of these. Gregory Lawrence is on the scene. Mason Wilson on the scene. TK is on the scene. As a matter of fact, in the comment section, tell me where you guys are from. That way we can acknowledge everybody. Talking about Demartrius Davis, Stephen Riley said, I could see this coming a mile away. Good luck to him. Steve King says the naysayer screaming the death of the program. Talking about Demartrius Davis's outro at Auburn. And my main man, Danny Blackman, always on the scene talking about go national champion dogs. How long has it been since y'all won a national championship? Now, mind you, Danny Blackman is a Georgia fan, but he's been one of my adamant supporters since the beginning. Get a few more of these comments before we get into the meat. Yep. Okay, so Auburn at the defensive line position. Now, if you look at this video that I'm going to play after this video, which kind of shows some practice schemes with the defensive line, you see the edge guys, the defensive end, the nose tackle, defensive tackle, they're doing some drills. And most of these drills obviously are some point of attack drills. Because in the SEC, in Power 5 football, you have to have a high level of intensity at the point of attack. You have to have some good defensive linemen. You really have to have situations to where you can put pressure on the quarterback. So let's look at the defensive end position real quick. Kobe Wooten was a guy that a lot of folks thought wasn't coming back. There was a lot of drama at the end of the 2021 season that dictated the possibility of Kobe Wooten not coming back. He decides to come back, and that adds a really good aspect of defensive line play for the Auburn Tigers, as he had a stellar season. Zackevius Walker, actually in that same position, had some really good moments for the Tigers, which I thought was really great, and which will add some solidarity to the defensive end position. But the only problem is you just don't have a high level of depth. Because if you think about it like this, what if Kobe Wooten or Zackevius Walker gets hurt? You just don't have a lot of depth. You got some talent, but you don't have a lot of depth. Then you move over to the nose tackle position, Marquise Burks, who is a really big guy in that middle portion of the line of scrimmage. Let's hope his level of play continues to develop. I think Marquise Burks is a guy that has really held his own in that position, and we'll look to see what happens. Now, Mbar Jeffrey, who was the Herald transfer, really better hope that he gets over that injury to where he could be a real huge competitor as well, and a huge contributor as well in that nose tackle position. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Also, leave a super chat if you feel compelled to. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. We talked a little bit about Bo Nix and his situation out at Oregon. Looks like he might be a backup quarterback at Oregon. Leave in the chat what you think about that. Also, we got a situation where some huge stuff going on in the running back position, which we're going to talk about in the next video probably. We got some guys that have earned some scholarships because of the hard work that they've done. We're going to elaborate on that. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Now, Auburn is a school that has not been a stranger to producing really good guys at the defensive line. You talk about Marlon Davidson, you talk about Derek Brown, and other guys who have really solidified themselves even at the next level as good defensive linemen. I even think back to the time that I was a student at Auburn. It was actually 2001 where we had Jay Ratliff, who was a really good defensive lineman at Auburn, had a really good career in the NFL. So Auburn is no stranger to having guys at the defensive line. So let's move on to the defensive tackle position. You got Marcus Harris. Now, this is definitely a feel-good story at this position. Marcus Harris from Montgomery actually wound up as a defensive lineman for the Kansas Jayhawks, hit the transfer portal. Brian Harsin bit the bait, and subsequently Marcus Harris is now back at quote-unquote home, for lack of a better way of putting it, as a defensive lineman at Auburn. And he's produced pretty well. I think we're in a position to where Marcus Harris could be one of the main guys who will make some contributions. As a matter of fact, he's listed as the starting defensive tackle for the Auburn Tigers. As we round this thing up, Derek Hall out of the state of Mississippi. We were real big on this channel about the recruitment of Derek Hall. We were really excited as we look back at the beginning stages of this channel. Derek Hall has not disappointed, and he will definitely be a contributing factor to the edge. And as a matter of fact, because Romello Height out of Dublin, Georgia, Auburn actually flipped Romello Height from Miami. He comes to Auburn. He didn't have a horrible season, but Romello Height winds up as a transfer portal beneficiary to signing on at USC. Big shout out to Romello Height. I mean, you go from Auburn to USC, looks like you got a little talent. Only issue is with Romello Height's absence, you have Derek Hall, Iku Leota. Now, let's just really be real about Iku Leota. He had a really good season. Has some definitely fortunate to have Iku Leota back, who is also a transfer portal recipient beneficiary of Auburn out of Northwestern. Had a very productive season, and we really look forward to seeing what his production is going to be this particular fall. But last but not least, this is probably a name that most of you probably forgot about. There's a real small town in Alabama called Roanoke, Alabama. They have a little high school out there called Hanley High School. Dylan Brooks, former Tennessee signee. He was real iffy. He was actually on the edge of it as to whether he would sign with Auburn or sign with Tennessee. He signs with Tennessee. The drama goes on at Tennessee, so he subsequently comes back. I mean, literally about 45 minutes from his hometown to play football at Auburn. As a matter of fact, Roanoke is not too far away from Wadley, where there have been some pretty good players out of that area that have played for Auburn. Now, we talked about the defensive line. Let me know your thoughts about how this thing will pan out. I want to give a shout out to Pat Mason. Want to give a shout out to Dwayne Phillips. Want to also give a shout out to Gregory Lawrence, Bubba Ford, Wesley Cooley, Auburn Kim, Wes Davis, true Auburn champion, George Addison, Clarence Dean, Lamoris Nails. Really appreciate you all's contribution to Vernon Speaks for Auburn. Trevor Thornton, Tamika Sims, F. Scott Fitzbeagle, Scotty Boyd, Eric Patterson, Brandon Manning, Brandon Martin. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.
My choosing just for real.